When I'm talking about my work, I need to start with the landscape. For me, the landscape informs the work. Within the landscape, we see evidence of past creativity, where cultures build upon each other's knowledge and develop new ways of existing. For me, the landscape is a space of continual documentation of the creativity of humanity, of how we leave these marks, these inscriptions, these biographical information written into the landscape. It's a space that, unfortunately, has become a space where we can document the rise and the fall of humanity, where we see creativity arise, and then fall. There's this never-ending cycle, it seems, of humanity destroying itself. Invasion, occupation, repression, liberation are all written into these landscapes. And these are spaces that speak to the transient nature of empire. Empires rise, empires fall. And so this is where we start with the work. Looking at places like Persepolis, Persia, Rome, and then we can look at the nature of humanity, the infinite. Looking into the infinite, for me, is quite interesting when we base it within the landscape. And so I always seem to come back to this notion of the ocean, the water. The ocean is beyond the human. It's a scale that is not controllable by the human. So I've used a lot of the metaphor of water and of ocean in this recent work and in works of the past. The ocean is something that very difficult for us to control. It's a space that informs us of our fleeting hold on life. I'm interested in these underwater archaeological sites that document our past, once great past that actually have now dissolved under the water. I've spent a lot of time photographing in the water, in the ocean, above the ocean, under the ocean. I'm also making work photographing in swimming pools to get the photographs of the water. I'm laying on the bottom of pools, photographing up into the sky, photographing and collecting photographs. I'm using studio-based work where I use a swimming pool, where I use fish tanks to photograph works that I have collected. A lot of the works are from my father's place in Egypt, and I'm documenting and building up an archive of photographic works within the pool and within the studio that I've collected over time. I'm then moving into museums and photographing artifacts from museums. Human creativity from past civilizations are fascinating, and I'm documenting a lot of these objects that I can then collect and assemble into a database that I can then start to configure into the photographic work that you see. Mathematical symbols, books, papers, sculptures. These are all things that are built upon. Even photographic works of the planes that you see I've made in America. Sculptures of the feet are fascinating too. Feet are the last things that exist. When you see a sculpture broken down, the last thing that's left is usually the feet, which I find amusing. And so we move into the photographic work where time and space collapse within these photographic works, where we have a 3,000-year history of past and present collapsing into the photographic works that you're seeing at the Islamic Museum of Australia. So you can see the assemblage, the database of work is then called upon, and it's then configured and made into the composite photographic works that you see before you at the museum. And the final proposition is what you see before you now. Thank you.